In our last video, we talked about some of the advantages that solopreneurs have over large corporations. Today, we're going to talk about what are the advantages large corporations have over solopreneurs and how we can apply some of those skills to your business. After 18 years of working in the corporate marketing space, there's a lot of advantages. I think a lot of these are going to be very obvious as we go through the list. So the first one, many of them have a big brand name. There's awareness. So there's already that trust is tied to the brand. So whenever a new product is launched or new styles of products are released, there's already that know, like, and trust factor. So that's a huge win right out of the gate. There's also the investment. Large corporations have huge marketing budgets. Now, what do those marketing budgets get? Well, there's the talent, there's the resources. So you're able to acquire top talent in your various aspects of your marketing team, as far as from your paid search team, your SEO team, your email, and brand awareness team. So everything has the opportunity to attract the best talent. And with that best talent, you're not only getting their skill and analysis knowledge, but you're also getting their past experiences from big corporations they've worked with in the past. You're also able to gather a lot more resources. One of the things that I was fortunate to have working in the SEO space was working with the best software and the best consultants. These are often very expensive and out of reach for somebody starting up their own online business. Although there are a lot of amazing software tools, and we'll talk more about those on this channel, the ones that we worked at that large enterprise scale level often are way beyond the needs of a solopreneur, entrepreneur. So why are these, aspects of the business so important? And we can look at that as, wow, how can we compete? In many cases, maybe you're not competing with these large corporations. Some cases you may be, but it's important to look at what are the advantages that you have in your business and what you offer in your products and services. Jay Abraham always talked about the unique selling proposition. What is it that makes you unique? Not only that, but what are your skill sets? There may be skill sets that you have and talents. You often hear in digital content creators or YouTube creators, what is something that is easy for you to do that's difficult for somebody else that you can share that value with? So it's focusing on the skill sets that we do have, the resources that we do have. So what resources do we have? We already talked about, well, we may not have a big brand. We might be able to hire the best talent or the most expensive software. But as you already probably know, there's definitely software that you can use to run your business. Often cases, there's the free versions of software. Then there's also the paid that has a lot more features. Sometimes it's easy to get into that, wanting to go bigger maybe than we can afford, and we start racking up a lot of expenses up front, which I would highly recommend not doing. And I fell into that. Sometimes you're excited. A lot of things that you do see, it's something that you will need, but it's one of those things where you want to purchase it and have it available when you are at the point of implementing that part of the business skill set from that software into your business. The other big thing, and this is probably one of the biggest things that I've seen in the past couple years, is just AI. I mean, every week there's new tools, there's new software, there's new capabilities within Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, the list goes on and on and on, as well as the software offerings. And that, I think, is one of the things that we have today that we didn't have several years ago that can help you move forward with the ideas that you do have. You now have somebody that you can talk to. So in those big corporations where they have these highly skilled, talented people on their team, now the alternative to that is having AI and knowing how to use AI and getting better at it. One of the big things that I found is if you can find somebody, maybe an expert that you find online that offers a custom GPT that's based on a lot of their documentation and their training. So you can access that, or you maybe not able to afford maybe some of the courses and things at the time, but you can attend a lot of free webinars online. You can access ChatGPT. One of the best things that I really love about, and I use ChatGPT, I use Claude as well, I use Gemini, I use them across the board. What I really like about ChatGPT, and maybe because I just got in the habit of using that first, is using it on my cell phone and using the ability to talk to it. What's phenomenal about that is you have a go-to any time of day. It could be 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. It could be whatever time of day. You can open that up, start your conversation, and then it's going to be, of course, saved as that thread in your ChatGPT that you can access in your desktop. But over time, you can keep building that conversation up and learning more and more and more, just as if you had a team of multiple experts on your side without having the huge expense on the budget. One of the things you may have recently seen just with, for instance, Claude Code, and being able to build reporting, being able to build out dashboards, being able to do data analysis for SEO. There's so much available. And the key is not to get overwhelmed. Move in a step-by-step fashion of what you need right now to implement. Get that mastered before you move on to the next step. One of the most amazing things I've recently seen with just experimenting with Claude and uploading just some banking transactions just to get an idea of budgets and things along that line. And what it could produce in Excel, it was multiple tabs, it was visuals, it was top 10 expenses, it was frequency of purchase. It was absolutely unbelievable how quickly it cranked this out. And this was using Excel and then using the Claude Chrome extension. And a lot of these things that I'm touching on here we can talk about in further videos. But I just wanted to share some of those things where corporate marketing has a ton of advantages, and so does solopreneurs. Wanted to highlight some of the things that are those big advantages that we talked about, that big brand name, the huge money and investment behind those companies so they could hire the best talent, the best consultants, the best software. So now that we know all those pieces to the business, how can we implement that in your business as a solopreneur? There's just a ton of information out there, just getting the time to consume the content, the webinars, and actually get hands-on in some of these AI tools. And one of the cool things when you use these AI tools, if you're just starting out, you're going to have that back and forth conversation. You can ask it to ask you questions to clarify what your need is. The more information I found that you can share with it about your business model, your idea, who your audience is, it can help you define that. Maybe you don't know exactly your audience, but you share those ideas and you can talk that through. And then once you do get some valuable ideas and concepts that you can implement, now you can ask that GPT to write you a prompt that could get you that answer faster. That was probably one of the coolest things that I think I've seen. I watch a lot of the lists of prompts that you need to know, and some of those are going to be ones you're familiar with, but oftentimes there's that one on that list that is just a big breakthrough that's gonna move your business forward. So always keep an eye out on some of those lists and some of those ideas, and be sure, of course, to test those out. The other one is too, if you're not sure exactly what to ask or how to ask, you could give a general summary of what you're trying to get to, what you're trying to accomplish, and ask it to create that prompt. So it's maybe more detailed with some of the ideas that you've had, and it can give you a much more definitive answer with more detail. What I like to do as well, just one last piece before we go here, is when I do have these really good outputs in any of the AI platforms, what I like to do is ask it to create a playbook. And I ask it to create a playbook that has some icons just to kind of visually make it appealing, as well as some spacing so I can save it in Notion. And all of these playbooks I have saved in Notion for future reference. So that's another idea too, because as you've seen, it can be a little bit challenging going back into some of these AI tools and trying to find a conversation that you had some time ago. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of amazing things that big corporate teams do, and there's a lot of advantages that you have as well, as we talked about in our last video. So wish you the best. We'll stay in touch. Thanks for stopping by the video. Stay excited, stay motivated, and we'll talk soon. Thanks again.